Junior's shout echoed throughout the house, and Crowley's heart stopped entirely, but it registered after a moment that it was a joyful shout, and Junior ran down the stairs with the sleepy-looking Angelica coiled around his neck. All right, give her space," Aziraphale instructed as the children flocked to welcome their sister back and tell her exactly how cool they thought she was. Aziraphale held out his hand, and after a moment, Angelica sluggishly moved from Junior to Aziraphale, coiling in his arms. Crowley watched as Aziraphale gently thumbed the white patch on Angelica's head, feeling a small flare of angelic power. "I'm sorry," Angelica said. "Whatever for?" Aziraphale asked. "You did wonderfully, my darling." "I didn't mean to stop time," Angelica said, burrowing into herself. "I think I remember Aziraphale saying something about Father doing it, before we hatched. Junior got too deep and was drowning. I just wanted it all to stop so we could save him." "Saved his life," Crowley grunted and stood up from his armchair, where he had been motionless for most of the day. "Clever trick, that. Kept him from sinking all the way." But I think I almost broke time," Angelica fretted. "You almost broke yourself, Spawn," Crowley said, more harshly than he intended. "We got very, very lucky." "You have a white spot," Junior announced, pointing at Angelica's head. Angelica's head perked up. "I do?" "Right here," Aziraphale said, running his finger over the spot again. "Does it hurt or tingle?" "No," Angelica said. "May it be person-shaped?" "If you can handle it, darling," Aziraphale said, and Crowley's breath stuttered as Angelica morphed and he got a good look at her hair. It was always a curly mess, but there was a definitive streak of white stripping her hair, near the front. She frowned and pulled at the different strands in front of her eyes. "It's like Rosa's," Angelica said. "Why'd it do that?" "Magic," Crowley said, and took a moment to kiss Angelica on the forehead, near the roots of where the streak began. "So proud of you." He turned to the rest of his children and started distributing hugs and kisses as he saw fit. "All of you." "Father's sappy today," Datura teased. Later that night, still wrapped around Aziraphale, but not quite so desperately, Crowley heaved a sigh. "Seen that kind of thing before," he said quietly. "The streak, I mean." "Usually occurs when a human undergoes severe stress or trauma," Aziraphale murmured. "Stopping time would do that, I suppose." There was a long bout of silence, and Crowley took a deep breath. "We need to find out what they can do," he said. "If stopping time is possible for them, what else is?" "I'm sure they'll figure it out in time," Aziraphale said gently. "There's no rush." Crowley laughed, and it was a wet sort of laugh, the kind he had been holding back for days. "There's no way that went unnoticed." Aziraphale's fingers, which had been carding through his hair, stopped. They were silent for a long, long time. Crowley swallowed hard. "Well," Aziraphale said, I suppose it was wishful thinking, that we could hide them forever." Crowley was getting ready to bury his face in Aziraphale's chest and never come out again, when he was struck by a sudden thought. "Adam. What about Adam?" "We both know he's a bit more on the magic side than most humans," Crowley said, scooting back to look Aziraphale in the face. "Maybe he can help. Book Girl too, if she's willing." "Are you sure?" Aziraphale asked, worry etched into his brow. "That means more people will know about them." "They're growing up, Angel," Crowley said, as much as it pained him to. "People are going to know about them whether we like it or not. It wouldn't—" He sighed. "We might need help. I don't think we can do this alone anymore." Aziraphale bit his lip, clearly thinking hard. Crowley laced their fingers together and let him work through it. For himself, he was already thinking about Warlock, who by some demonic miracle had managed to keep in touch with his old nanny, and who needed more friends, in Crowley's professional opinion. Humans tended to flock together, some primal social instinct or whatever. Madame Tracy had certainly made it her mission since Armageddon to keep them all in vague communication, so it wouldn't be out of the blue for them to approach Adam and the rest. "I think perhaps you're right," Aziraphale said slowly, "and it would be good for them, to expand their acquaintanceship beyond us in the village." "I think we're building a tribe," Crowley said thoughtfully. "A clan, perhaps." Aziraphale smirked, tugging on the collar of his tartan pajama shirt. Crowley rolled his eyes. "Need force that tartan one day or another." "Not force," Aziraphale sniffed. "If the tartan's already there, it's not force." "Right, yeah, sure." Crowley snuggled back up to Aziraphale, ready to sleep for the first time in days. He was apprehensive about it, but if he woke up screaming, Aziraphale would be there. "Night, Angel." "Good night, my dearest," Aziraphale replied, and Crowley drifted off to sleep with Aziraphale's hands in his hair and steady breathing beneath his cheek.